Have you ever had that feeling? That strange, unsettling feeling that you're in a competition you never actually signed up for? Or maybe that a friend or a colleague was somehow being turned against you, right under your nose? Well, today we are taking a deep dive, a masterclass into one of the most powerful and honestly insidious manipulation tactics ever devised. This isn't about simple persuasion. Oh no, this is about a strategy that fundamentally warps the reality of a relationship, all to gain absolute control.
You know, we tend to think of manipulation as this direct, one-on-one thing, a battle of wills. But the truth? It's way more strategic than that. The most effective manipulators, they almost never engage you directly. Instead, they position themselves right in the center of a web they have meticulously woven between you and someone else. They get this powerful, counterintuitive principle of control that the shortest distance to controlling you is very often a triangle.
The mechanism we're about to expose is called triangulation. Now, the concept actually comes from family systems theory, where it describes how a third person gets pulled into a two-person conflict. But believe me, it is used everywhere. From the boardroom to romantic relationships, it's a psychological play that leverages your own emotional state by introducing a third party, what we're going to call a ghost rival, to shatter your confidence and pretty much force your compliance. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why the person whispering in your ear about someone else is actually trying to control who you are.
Okay, so here's our strategic breakdown for today. First, we're going to diagnose the anomaly, that feeling, that triangle of paranoia. Then, we'll reverse engineer the mechanism itself. We're calling it the competition loop blueprint. After that, we'll pinpoint the exact psychological leverage point it exploits, our primal fear of exclusion. Once we understand the attack, of course, we'll lay out the counterplay, the direct connection protocol. And finally, we'll reveal the master key, the thing that can make you immune to this entire game. Let's get into it.
So let's start not with a theory, but with a feeling. I'm talking about that creeping sense of paranoia, that gut feeling that people are talking about you behind your back. It's that sensation of being judged in a competition you never even chose to enter against a set of rules you can't even see. I'm telling you, this isn't just in your head. It's the intended first effect of a strategic deconstruction of your reality.
And this right here reveals a critical contrast. On one side, you have relational stability, the ideal state, right? Direct communication, trust. But the operator's goal is the complete opposite, strategic deconstruction. They introduce a third party. This could be an ex-partner they just keep talking about, a star colleague they're constantly praising, or even just a vague group of other people who supposedly disapprove of you. The goal is always the same, to shatter that stability and send you a crystal clear message: your position is not secure.
And this is the moment the trap starts to close. You get pushed into what we'll call the status insecurity loop. All of a sudden, that third person becomes your benchmark. You start asking yourself, what do they have that I don't? Why are they getting all the praise? What am I doing wrong here? This creates a massive cognitive load. This constant draining hum of social comparison that just saps your focus, fuels your anxiety, and makes you second guess every single move you make.
And you have to understand, this is a direct assault on your cognitive sovereignty, your fundamental ability to think for yourself and act from your own core values. See, when you're trapped in that loop, you stop acting from a place of integrity and you start reacting to try and beat this ghost rival. The operator has now gained immense leverage by basically appointing themselves the judge, the jury, and the scorekeeper in a contest you never ever agreed to enter.
So, we've felt the effects. Now, let's pop the hood and dissect the engine. The absolute core of triangulation is establishing something called the competition loop. It's a system, really, designed to deflect accountability and manufacture urgency, all by strategically using that third person as a tool.
This is the engine of control, and it's not random, it's not chaotic. It's a precise four-phase process designed to systematically strip away your agency and lock you into a state of total dependency. So let's break down the mechanics step by step.
Okay, let's break this down. Phase 1, the standard injection. This is the opening move. The operator just casually idealizes a third party to set an anchor of comparison. It sounds innocent, right? Like, you know, my ex was always so good at managing money. Or, John in accounting, man, he always gets his reports in early. Boom, just like that, the seed of comparison is planted. Next, phase 2, the communication filter. This is absolutely crucial. The operator positions themselves as the only messenger between you and the rival. They control the entire narrative. You'll hear things like, Sarah told me she's a little worried about your performance. They make sure you and Sarah never actually talk directly, keeping you both in this fog of strategic ambiguity. Then the trap closes in phase 3, validation rationing. The operator now rewards you, but, and this is key, only when you act better than the ghost rival. This is just classic intermittent reinforcement. They'll praise you for working late right after complaining about John's work ethic. This gets you psychologically addicted to winning these little moments of their approval. And this leads to the final stage, phase 4, the status lock. You are now in a state of status dependency. Your sense of self-worth, your social safety, it's all tied directly to the operator's judgment. You will do almost anything to keep that triangle from tipping in the other person's favor.
And this is the final state of the trap, a self-reinforcing insecurity validation feedback loop. The more you compete for that validation, the more insecure you feel, and the more power the operator gets. You're now fighting a battle on two fronts, one against this ghost rival, and another to win the operator's approval. And the cruelest part of this whole dynamic? The person you've been conditioned to see as your enemy could have, and probably should have, been your ally.
So we get the how. We see the mechanism. But why is this tactic so devastatingly effective? Why do we fall for it? Well, the answer lies deep, deep inside our own psychology. The operator isn't just playing games. They are hacking the ancient hardware of the human brain.
Seriously, think about it for a second. Why does the mere mention of one other person have the power to completely destabilize our sense of self-worth? It's because this tactic pulls a psychological lever that is buried deep in our evolutionary code.
There are really three core psychological levers at play here. First, our evolutionary programming. For our ancestors, being excluded or replaced by a rival within the tribe, that wasn't just an emotional blow, it was a literal death sentence. Triangulation lights up that ancient primal threat detection system in our brain. Second, the operator weaponizes cognitive dissonance. This is that mental discomfort we feel when we're holding two conflicting beliefs. You believe the operator is a good person, but their behavior is causing you pain. So to resolve this, it's just easier to decide the rival is the real problem. It's a classic divide and conquer strategy that makes you an accomplice in your own manipulation. And finally, they exploit the halo effect. The ghost rival seems perfect, flawless, right? But only because you're seeing them through the operator's carefully curated, filtered lens. You're not competing against a real person, you're competing against a myth they built.
And here is the deepest, most painful irony of this entire dynamic. We think that by outcompeting the rival, by winning the operator's favor, we're building a stronger bond. We mistake the intensity of the competition for the intimacy of a real connection. But we're not building a bond at all. We are just digging ourselves deeper into a state of dependence. And the end result of being exposed to this for a long time is something called learned helplessness. It's a psychological state where you start to feel completely powerless to change your negative situation. Your sense of agency, your belief that you can actually impact your own life, it's systematically eroded until you believe the only thing you can do is just keep playing their game.
All right, we've analyzed the problem, we've blueprinted the mechanism, we understand the psychology. Now for the most important part, the counterplay. How do you dismantle this system and take back your cognitive sovereignty? The key is to shift your focus. You have to stop looking at the operator and start looking at the other node in the triangle. You have to move from being a contestant to being a connect. Here is your 3-step protocol to dismantle this entire system. First, cognitive reappraisal. The moment you hear one of those comparisons, you have to internally label it for what it is. Just think to yourself, okay, this is a triangulation move. Naming the tactic keeps your rational mind online and prevents that emotional hijack. Step 2, and listen, this is the absolute game changer, the direct connection principle. The operator's power comes from controlling information. You destroy that power by closing the information gap. If the operator says, hey, person X is upset with you, you go directly to person X and say, hey, I heard there might be a misunderstanding between us. I wanted to check in directly. Can we talk? This one move collapses the entire structure. Finally, step 3, the refusal to compare. When they say, why can't you be more like person X, you refuse to accept the premise of the question. You respond calmly, firmly, I'm not person X. If you have an issue with my performance, let's talk about our dynamic and expectations. You reject the competitive frame they're trying to force on you.
And this really highlights the fundamental difference between manipulation and leadership. An operator's goal is information asymmetry. They thrive on controlling communication to create division. But a true leader's goal is transparent mediation. If two people on their team have a conflict, a leader brings them into a room together to facilitate direct, open communication. A leader creates unity. A leader heals triangles. An operator weaponizes.
So, we've deconstructed the system. Now let's talk about the master key. The ultimate defense against triangulation isn't about outmaneuvering the operator or winning over the rival. It has nothing to do with controlling other people at all. It's about mastering the one thing you have absolute domain over.
Just let that sink in for a second. Triangulation, at its absolute core, is a strategy of information warfare. By positioning themselves as that central node, the sole gatekeeper of information invalidation, the operator gains control over the relationship between the other two people. And by controlling that relationship, they control the people within it.
So here is the tactical takeaway, the thing to remember. The next time someone tells you what a third party thinks or feels or says about you, recognize the game that's being played. They are not just relaying information. They are attempting to frame your reality. They are trying to control what you think by controlling what you believe others think. And simple awareness of that fact is what collapses the entire system.
And that, right there, is the ultimate strategic takeaway. Your cognitive sovereignty is your most valuable asset. The power to reject a frame, to verify information directly, and to act based on your own integrity, that's the only defense you will ever need. Don't fight for a seat at a table that was built by someone who's just trying to sell you the chair. Build your own. The master key has been, and always will be, to control what you think.